We start to trace the evolutionary progress in the universe, with the concept of a projector, which is a powerful symbol. The lights of this projector represent the force or the necessities of the original principle we have mentioned. The source of this light is not the original principle itself, but the force of it, which is merely orientated to the universe. On this topic, it should be needed to suffice with so much intuition, and not to attempt to go further. Otherwise, mankind can gain nothing, but falling into vast and inconclusive confusion from which they cannot pull through. So, this light, coming out of the source, which we gave an intuition about above as a cone, descends at the universe substance, the primary matter that waits at that moment as inert, amorphous and passive. The tip of the light is in that force, and its base is in the primary matter. It should be remembered that, in this light are inherent, both the needs of the spirits and the possibilities that will manifest in matter in the face of these needs. And these needs and possibilities will be unified only within this light, and the evolution will be executed. So, we call these executor forces of the light as necessities. Therefore, the necessity has a distinct aspect and state, according to each universe. And its aspect belonging to our universe is the force of the original principle, which is directed at finalization of the unity of the needs of the spirits with the matter possibilities. The first place which this projector light lands on in our universe is the amorphous state of primary matter. These expressions should be intuited, without thinking in terms of spatial concepts in the world, because there is neither a place nor a distance. These images are mentioned only about the aspect of this great truth which addresses mankind, to be able to give intuitions. The zone, where the cone of light first lands the amorphous matter is immediately illuminated. This illumination at the base of the cone of light, which is in the primary matter, expresses the needs of the initial spirits which to start application, have encountered the matter possibilities at that zone of contact. Here, the base is yet dimly illuminated and too distant from the tip. This is why we call this zone an obscured stage. This is what occurs in this zone. On the face of the needs of spirits, which are inherent at the end part of the light, that is, at the base of the cone which connects to matter, inert matter has started to move, and with this motion, the principle of the mechanical evolution of the spirits has started to work. After this state occurs, that is, after the initial possibilities manifested in the amorphous matter, the zone illuminated by the projector light, that is, the base of the cone of light, begins to become more illuminated. At the same time, the base gradually rises towards the top, and the distance between the cone's tip and base begins to shorten. However, this distance should not be considered a distance that can be measured in kilometers. And it should be remembered that these are each symbols. As matter's possibilities to manifest increases, the base of the cone becomes more illuminated and continues to get closer to the top. This indicates that possibilities of matter increasingly manifest, and the needs of the spirits causing this manifestation are fulfilled in a wider scope, the developments increase and the zones become illuminated. In this way, the initial mechanical principle of evolution in the universe, that is, the subhydrogen stage, which we previously described as a long and dark zone, matures. The base of the cone of light rises up to the starting field of the hydrogen stage. From there on, as we previously explained, spirits are connected with matter. The initial applications of the spirits start at this stage to adapt passively and mechanically to the motions of matter, which are monotonous, mechanical, but to be complicated with a very gradual tempo within a very long time. In this regard, we also call this stage the passive adaptation stage of the evolution. At this stage, spirits will be made accustomed to the motion of matter, by being dragged passively, within an imprisonment during a time that continues almost infinitely. Here, the base of the cone of light has been illuminated a little more and has drawn nearer to the summit. The base of the cone of light, by continuing to be illuminated, rises up to the hydrogen atom's stage of being. From there onwards, with the initial simple active behaviors of the spirits, starts the principle of development in matter. Here, there is both the primitive activity of the spirits, and the principle of automatism, which strictly controls and supports this activity. Afterwards, the cone of light, as it continues to rise, reaches up to the stage of building of plant bodies, which are preparing the beings to the intuitions that are the first sparks of comprehension. In plants, the exercises start for the transition to initial primitive intuitions. At this stage, boundaries of freedom, although still very limited, are a little wider, and automatism of intuition has appeared. As the base of the cone rises, these automatisms of intuition will increase in scope, and turn into intuitions in animals. Development in animals is slightly faster than development in plants. As the base of the cone rises from the stage of animality to the stage of humanity, the initial preparations of some features of comprehension in mankind start to emerge as well in animals. The base of the cone of light continues its illumination by rising further, and reaches the hydrogen stage of humanity, where comprehension begins. From there onwards, a semi-comprehending and subjective stage of evolution is the preparation for the plan of duty, and the zone here is in a quite illuminated state. As the base of the cone of light gets closer to its tip in this way, comprehension brightens, preparations progress towards the stage, which will start from the plan of duty, and finally, the base of the cone rises up to the stage of the plan of duty, which is the superhuman and beyond the hydrogen cosmos. When the base of the cone of light reaches this stage, the zone is thoroughly illuminated. From there onwards, necessities manifest openly. This situation allows comprehension to adapt swiftly to necessities. From there onwards, the behaviors of the spirits will start to unite with the necessities. Up to this point, the beings could follow the base of the cone of light, as if they were pushed and dragged by various mechanisms. From then on, by means of comprehension's merit in unifying with the necessities, the beings actively start to go towards the top, with their own comprehension, by working hard to climb the light beams of the cone of light. And this occurs quickly as much as comprehension is able to adapt to the necessities, that is, to enter the state of unity with them. That is why we call this progress also the active adaptation stage of evolution. At this stage, evolution has a rather subjective character relative to the previous stage. The intuition of this concept will be received better as we later explain the topic of time. From the plan of duty onwards, the distance to be traversed by those beings who started to climb, from the base to the tip of the cone of light, with an increasing abundance of possibilities of power, is still very long. For, although relative to the distance, from the base to the tip of the cone of light that descended to the primary matter at the initial stage, its distance from the plan of duty to the top has been considerably shortened, there is still an almost infinitely long distance between its base in the initial stages of the plan of duty and its tip. However, the base of the cone of light, which is thoroughly illuminated at the plan of duty, will increase its illumination quite swiftly, and its speed of rising to the top will accelerate, in a degree beyond comparison to the previous ones. This stage is a true stage of evolution. As we said, as the illuminated zones of the cone of light, which increases from this stage onwards, rise towards the top, they will give speed to the adaptation of the necessities belonging to the universe, with the behaviors and comprehension of the spirits. And as it gets closer to the top, the field of unity will widen accordingly. As the fields of unity of the spirits' comprehensions with the necessities advance, by getting wider and wider, The base of the cone of light reaches such a point that, there, the whole of the necessities and all the spirit's behaviors, and comprehension related to this universe enters a state of complete unity, and the base of the cone, reaching the top, completes its journey at that singular illuminated point. This singular illuminated point where all behaviors, comprehensions, possibilities, influences, in short, necessities unify, is the unity of comprehension which we call the unitary. This is the whole universe. It has only a singular magnetic field, which is the singular magnetic field of universe. At this point, there is no separation. Everything is unified there. There, a singular comprehension, a singular behavior, a singular necessity, in short, a singular universe is the key point. And this point expresses the realization of evolution in the universe. Here, in order to prevent the possibility of a major misunderstanding, we need to point out the following. The tip of the cone of light, as we have said before, is not the original principle itself. It is a force of it, not particular to all universes, but to our universe only. Likewise, the behaviors of spirits are not the spirits themselves. They are the manifestation of their needs, not pertaining to all universes, but to the matter universe only. Therefore, here, considering the unitary as a state where the original principle, matter and spirits unify, is the greatest of all mistakes. We had previously explained the reason for this. All states here are only opened and closed by the spiritual behaviors and necessities that gathered around the concept of matter universe. However, beyond them unending events continue onwards. So, here it is clearly explained that the cone of light is the universe itself. And the universe exists only with this cone of light, with the original necessities. A single point of the universe which is deprived of the beams of that cone, immediately declines to darkness, into an amorphous state, that is, condemned into a state of extinction, in the sense mankind understands. So, there is no speck of universe that exists outside the scope and encompassment of the original influences coming filtered from the unitary. The ones who receive this knowledge will more powerfully gain the intuition of the truth that each stirring in the universe can be possible only by the approval and control of the unitary.